and it seems like this is the favorite time of year for Greensboro girls basketball. What are you thinking as you guys go into the postseason?
You know, it's funny, going into my 12th postseason, they all take on a life of their own and things like that. And, you know, I've gone into the postseason under 500, did that once in my career, went into the postseason last year undefeated. And I still have the same nervous butterflies and everything that I do this time of year, each and every time it comes up. And I think so much of it goes back to, regardless of where you stand, every coach brings out the old cliche, everybody's 0-0. Yeah. But man, does that hold true in Indiana high school basketball. Anything can happen on a given night. And you know, that's kind of the beauty of, we're not playing an NBA Finals series or something like that. You've got to go out on every single night and have your best, because if you don't, your season is over. There's no slow roll into the off, boom, season's done. And so you've got to be ready to go each and every time you step on the floor.
Yeah, Coach, it's easy for people to say that Greensboro is a favorite. But when you think about getting the bye in the first round, are you a coach that says, I'd rather play all the way through, or I'd rather have my team get that night off?
I think it changes from year to year, to be quite honest with you, with the makeup of your team, what you've had leading up to it. Have you had illness? Have you had injuries? Things like that. You know, last year I wanted to play as much, just keep the train rolling, let's go. But then we're hit with that setback with Mary in the last game of the season, and so it was kind of a gut punch to us. But then again, I think it was really good for us to step out on night one and just start going. We didn't have time to think about it, to worry about it, those things. This group this year, I think I'm kind of looking forward to getting to Friday night, you know, because we'll play tomorrow night, hopefully weather permitting, and then we'll get a good week of just focusing on us, because we won't know exactly who we're going to play until after Tuesday night, which will give us a couple nights to prepare. So, you know, we'll get to practice Friday, and then Saturday we'll go down to Franklin County and get the practice down there, because we didn't play there this year. But I would say, if I go back through my whole career, a majority of the time I would almost rather play that first night and get our feet wet, you know, get into that postseason feel, so that you kind of get those jitters out of you. And then if you're fortunate enough to win night one, night two, if you're playing a bye team, night two, to use just another game, because you've kind of gotten that emotion out of you. Hey, now we know what it's about, let's go. And so I would say a majority of the time I tend to fall into the camp of, let's just go ahead and play right away.
Well, Coach, you have a different set of leaders this year. With Mary, with Allie, with Emma, with Claire. And there's some pressure that comes with that because of the success that you all have had. How do you quiet that noise as you go into the postseason to keep them focused?
I think it's something that we do on a daily basis. I put a lot on their plate as leaders. And so I don't know that they really have time to get caught up in that emotion or the nervousness or things like that. And it's not like this idea of a bullseye or a target's new to this group. You know, Mary and Allie, it's going to be their fourth postseason. They've started every game that they've been healthy all 4 years. So it's not going to be a new thing to them. And obviously they're kids, they're human. They're going to be amped up a little bit on Friday night, first few possessions of the game, but they'll settle in. And so, you know, I don't know, with this group especially, because of the success that they've been a part of over the last few years, and being the fact that there is a lot of responsibility that I put. If you're voted a captain by your teammates or somebody that I identify as a good leader, you've had high expectations since day one last June. Yeah. When the summer started. I put a lot of responsibility on their plates, and so I don't think that there's going to be anything new that they haven't experienced or anything like that once we get into next week.
When you look at the postseason with what is coming, and you look at the teams that are in the sectional, you know, you start to think, you could easily think of down the road because of the way you guys are taking care of your business within the conference. What is the one thing you do to keep your team focused on game one at a time?
I think some of it honestly goes back to the makeup of your kids. It has to be part of it. I think it goes back to the message that we send as the season goes on. The one thing, it does not matter if the opponent in front of us is 20-0 or 0-20. They're still getting the same scouting report. They're still getting the same breakdown on film. There's still the same expectation from us as coaches in our preparation through the week and what we expect out of them and their preparation and watching the film and knowing sets and knowing personnel. So there's that. And then, we're pretty fortunate. This year is a little bit different. Last year was the first year that we didn't have Rushville in there. But at any given moment in the postseason, we've got Batesville and used to have Rushville, who are two of our biggest rivals. And yes, it's postseason, it's all those things, but it's a rivalry game. You don't want to lose to your rival no matter when you're playing them. And so, looking to what our possible first-round matchup is, you've got Batesville sitting there. And that'll be easy enough to go into and say, you don't have to worry about this being postseason. It's your rival.
Right.
You want to be ready for games like this. But then it's something that I had to take some ownership in it, and I apologized to the girls about 2 weeks ago. We were so locked in and focused last year. Our mantra was, we're not worried about what's ahead. Go 1-0 tonight. And I caught myself in conversations with the girls like, hey, look at these next 3 or 4 games that we have coming.
Right.
And I was getting ahead of myself and talking into the future. And when you start to do that, you start to wish away today. And so I had to recenter and refocus myself and bring them back to, we're only worried about what we had in front of us. And so you go back a few games and, it started last Saturday. We're only worried about Batesville today. And as we sit here and we talk now, I'm only worried about Lawrenceburg tomorrow night because it's the next game on the schedule. And so I've had to remind myself of that. But I think the girls had done a pretty good job of staying locked into that because we were so focused on that being part of who we were last year.
When you look, let's go all the way back to October when the season started, and you think about where the team is now. What has this team done that's been different from any of your other teams?
I think from a basketball perspective, as crazy as it is because we played really fast last year, this team has really bought into the idea of your pace, regardless. Like they've bought into, I'm going to sprint this lane in the fast break knowing if I do it 20 times, it might only get pitched to me twice. But the fact that I am sprinting this lane in transition is constantly putting the pressure on the defense. They have to get back every time. And you've seen our practices at times too, and we always get together before practice and there's a daily word or a daily message that we talk about. And so many times it focuses on, and today was just another one, you've got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And every single athlete at some point is going to hit a wall. And when you hit that wall, you got 2 choices. You get comfortable and you take a step back, which means what? You're slowing down.
Right.
Your effort is getting less. Or you push against that wall and you keep pushing. And maybe it only moves this much. Maybe it doesn't move at all, but your effort stays there to do that. And they found a way to break a lot of people's wills. And sometimes we've seen teams that don't want any part of it in the middle of the second quarter. There's teams that it takes longer to do that to. But they have really bought into, my comfort is not what I'm concerned with. I have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. I can't remember who the coach was that talked about it, but my spirit animal, Coach Signetti, who I know you love, being a Hoosier and everything.
Here we go.
They talked about being willing to drag teams out to deep water. And when you can get teams there, how much do they have left in their tank? How much are they willing to fight? And I really think this team has bought into, don't worry about the scoreboard. There's a way that we want to play, and they've really done a great job with that. Not that other teams in the past haven't, but I really feel like that's kind of become the calling card and identity of this group.
Coach, you don't really get to kind of reflect much when the season's going on because it's so hectic and it's a long season. But when you look back, let's talk about your seniors. When you look back from October, November, what is the thing you would say you've been most proud of with this group, the senior group?
It would have been very easy for them to just kind of come in and try to rewrite the script from last year. Well, let's just do it the way that Leah and Miley and Emma did it. But they've kind of put their own identity on their leadership without losing that sense of every single piece of this team matters. It doesn't matter if it's Claire, who's our leading scorer and, getting talked about all around the state for all-star teams and all these things, or if it's the kid that maybe doesn't get in for 4 straight games and we count on them in practice. Every single individual's role matters, and every single individual's role is important to our success. And they've done such a phenomenal job of keeping that closeness and togetherness for everybody involved, even if maybe they're not having their best day. And I think seeing that, because that can be really hard. Everybody wants to worry about me first. And we talk so much about, you need to, if you feel like you're having a bad day, focus on picking somebody else up, because it's amazing what it can do for you. And I feel like they've done a great job of that. And I mean, we're all human. We all have bad days. But I think they found a way to kind of recenter and refocus themselves after maybe having a moment, and we're all allowed to have them, whether it be in a practice or in a game, if shots aren't going, things like that. They have found that, let me focus on somebody else, and it's amazing what that positivity can do for me.
Bruins Guts Willer is the right choice for your next construction project. We strive to deliver unparalleled service to our clients by focusing on craftsmanship and quality. Our core values of integrity, professionalism, and fair pricing all but ensures our clients receive the best possible experience. Whether it's commercial construction, remodeling an existing space, or even building a luxurious home, we offer a comprehensive suite of construction management services. So before you break ground, give us a call at 812-934-2105. Bruins Guts Willer, building a better future for southeastern Indiana for over 100 years.
You know, Leon, one of the things that I like most about working and living in Batesville, it's the community. Batesville has a little something for everyone, and FCN Bank is the exact same way. Whether it's my personal or business needs, FCN offered me an array of banking products and services that would fit my every banking need. Don't take my word for it. You should check it out yourself at www.fcnbank.com. FCN Bank, building stronger communities. Member FDIC.
When when we talk about that group of seniors, what about each one of them? Mary Harmon, she's kind of like the bull in the china shop. What would you say you're most proud of with Mary?
I would say over her 4 years, and I told her coming into her freshman year, because that year, with just the, not that it's not important every year, but there was just something about, Leah, Miley, Emma were coming back into their sophomore year, Mary and Allie coming into the fold as freshmen. I'm going to sit down and have an individual meeting with each one of them. We're going to talk about goals. And I still remember, she, as honest as could be, I said, what are your goals? And one of the things she said is, I want to be the starting point guard for this team. And I kind of chuckled and I said, you better be careful what you wish for, because A, point guard is the most difficult position to play. I said, B, and then playing point guard for me, I have to build that trust in you. But in so doing, that means there is going to be a lot on your plate that you're responsible for. You're no longer just responsible for your role in what you do. You're responsible for everybody.
I've kind of seen you guys have that coach quarterback argument of what was going on the floor, and it's pretty cool to see.
But she's earned the right to do that too. And I won't say that there haven't been growing pains, but the kid is a fighter. And You know, there's been times and this was not just because she's point guard or anything, and she would admit this to you. Her first year, I could just be talking to her like I am to you right now, and she might burst into tears. She would just get so emotional. But so much of that was her desire to do well. She wanted to be individually successful, and she wanted the team to be successful. And so I think she was wearing some of that. But you know, we've had our battles, but again, that she's now earned that in games. If she sees something that maybe I don't see, hey coach, let's look at doing this. Hey, let's run this set. I trust you. Let's do it. Because she and then all the others are not going to be the ones that are in the back of their mind. You know, they got this grin on their face. Hey, I'm going to call this set because that means I'm going to get the shot or whatever it is. It's never anything like that. So with Mary, I would say just her growth from her freshman to her senior year. I mean, to say the kid has the keys to the car would be an understatement, because I trust her and I trust her judgment, because I know at the end of every single night, that kid is going to give you everything she's got and then a little bit more. Yeah. You watch her play. She's the first one to dive on a loose ball. She's the first one to want that assignment of guarding the other team's best player. All of those things she wears like a badge of honor. And so extremely, extremely proud of her for that.
When you talk about Allie Powers, she is somebody that she's been a 4-year varsity player. She was a scorer coming out of middle school, and she had to change her mindset. Mm-hmm. What's been the most impressive thing about her coming back to senior year, and now she's got to go back to, you got to come up with some points?
Well, I think what's been so cool about it is, and it's kind of the same way it was with Mary, just for different reasons. It wasn't a lack of desire or anything. It was a lack. She didn't have to ever play defense when she was growing up, because it was, Allie, you're better offensively than about 95% of the kids that we're going to play. And in junior high and in travel ball and stuff, that's going to be good enough to win. Mm-hmm. So here, go do it. Yeah. Well, then she shows up as a freshman and thankfully has that ability to score, but didn't understand that defense is not a suggestion in this program. Defense and unselfishness are the two things on the top line to play for us. And she was never not passing the basketball because she was selfish. She was just so used to having it in her hands. Right. And what is so cool about it is now to see where she is. She's the most vocal kid on the floor defensively for us now. For 2 years, up until this year, she led us in assists. Mm-hmm. And now to see, she hasn't forgotten that now that she's got to get that back in that mindset of, hey, I might need to be a leading scorer 3, 4, 5 straight games. Whereas in the past, she still had the ability to do that and would do that on some nights, but didn't have to. To still see her lead us in assists in some games, and to still see her being that vocal leader defensively and things like that. It's been really impressive to see her whole game kind of come full circle from, you know, where she came in to where she is now. It's pretty neat to see.
Yeah. So the last senior, Emma, she was a 3-year, and I didn't know this till the other day, she was a 3-year JV player. Mm-hmm. And now she not only is playing varsity, she's a starter.
Yeah.
How's she done?
Far exceeded my expectations, if I'm being honest with you. And part of that comes back to, it's not that I didn't have belief in things in her, but it's so uncommon nowadays to have a kid in today's day and age be willing to sit and wait their turn, to just keep working, to like being a part of it. And if I'm being honest, part of that is that's a testament to her character as a kid, to sticking with something. I committed to it, I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to give a lot of credit to our seniors from last year that made this such a welcoming place to be, and people wanted to be a part of it. I think that helped. Yeah. And let's be honest, it's a lot of fun to win. And she got to, you know, she was dressing varsity last year and would get into some games and stuff. But that's a lot of fun. Yeah. But then to see that opportunity, she knew what was leaving, but she also knew what we had coming in. And, you know, Sophie and Lulu are incredibly talented freshmen. And so they could have been, well, I know what they're going to do. I'm not going to get that chance. Well, she came in last off season, starting last spring, and said, that's going to be my spot. And she worked herself into it. And all of our games that we had this summer just kept proving time and time and time and time again. I'm not going to come out here and wow you with all these brand new skills that I've got, but I'm going to know my role. I'm going to be in the right spots. I'm going to play hard. I'm going to be unselfish. And she's earned every single thing that she's gotten this year. And there's been a couple of games simply just through hustle plays and offensive rebounds and keeping plays alive and things. She's been a huge factor in us beating teams that maybe it doesn't show up in the scorebook, but if she's not on the floor, then we're not in those games at the end.
Yeah. So, Coach, when you talk about, like, last year was a thing of nobody really paid attention to Greensburg. You're undefeated all year, but the talk wasn't about Greensburg. Mm-hmm. When I'm up north, they're talking about Greensburg now. How does that change your approach to the postseason?
It doesn't. It doesn't at all. It makes me feel good to know that because, as you and I have talked in conversations quite a bit, when I took over 12 years ago, Greensburg girls basketball, it would be a disservice to afterthoughts if I called it an afterthought. It was not a thought at all in anybody's mind. And so the first thing I wanted to do was gain respectability around here. I wanted people to take us seriously. And then, if we were fortunate enough that we could get some talk around the state just from sustained excellence and sustained success. And I feel like, when I go to the IBCA and I see coaches from up north and they'll talk about our kids and stuff, I'm like, dang, you're almost on the Michigan border and things like that. I'm like, and you know about little old Greensburg? And so it's a testament to our girls. And I think what I'm so proud of is you can go back 12 years, and it starts with Kyra Whitaker and comes all the way through to where we are today with Mary and Allie and Claire, getting state recognition and things like that. You will never be able to go back, and you can check their social media, you can check our team's social media. You'll never see any of them thumping their chest and look what I did, and you'll never see that. They're all incredibly humble in their success, but as a coach, I'd be lying if I said that isn't pretty cool that they talk about us. But as far as our approach, once we get into the postseason, we have to worry about us. And back to what you said earlier, you asked earlier, I think it's a lot easier for us to do because we don't change our approach. No matter who we're playing, it's going to be scouting report, it's going to be film, it's going to be walkthrough, it's going to be preparation. We're not going to suddenly out of nowhere, depending on an opponent, go, hey, we're going to go 2-3 zone tonight. That's not who we are. I'm not saying we won't do it for a possession or two, but we're not going to change who we are.
Right.
We're going to change maybe some rotations and some things that we do. Instead of switching, we might stay with, or we might trap, or we might do some simple little wrinkles like that. But especially in the postseason, emotions and things are going to be high enough the way it is. The last thing you want your kids doing is having to think even more than what you've asked them to do already.
Coach, you with this being the postseason, you got kids that have experienced it for 4 years, you got kids that are brand new. What is the one message you have to your team, period, for the postseason?
We've earned it. Over the past 11 years, we've earned that bullseye, but understand, bullseyes don't get bigger than what's on us right now. And you can look back to a few of our games this year that we've ended up losing, and the teams that beat us, very good teams, but played better than they have in any other game this year because they have earned this, but we're a lot of teams Super Bowls now. Like Greensburg comes out across that chest, and people are going to be different. That you are the hunted for sure. So you've got to go out. You've got to respect every opponent. You have to understand it's not about some otherworldly performance that maybe you've never had before. Stick to what makes us good. Play for each other. Play hard. Play unselfish. Do those things within. We don't have a lot of rules in the way that we play. We've got a few simple things. Play within those parameters. and good things are going to happen most nights. Don't get ahead of yourself and be thinking ahead to, oh, what about regional? What about semi-state? Worry about next Friday night, and that everything else will tend to take care of itself.
Well, Coach, I want things to go as planned because I want to do this again next week. So I wish you guys the best of luck, and man, I'm excited to see you all.
You said it when we first started. Can you believe that we're in the postseason? Mm-hmm. I literally feel like we just stepped back into school in August, and it was preseason, and now here we are, and it's the calendar's about to turn to February. It's wild, and I think that's what makes it so fun for me. I go all the way back 27 years ago. That very first sectional as a volunteer assistant. Actually, I go back even further than that. I go back to when I was playing. But I would get so nervous about sectional. Now I don't get nervous, I get excited, but it's butterflies. Like, man, it's the postseason.
Do you see some of your girls that have that look that you had when you were playing? And you're like, girls, let's calm it down.
There are a couple that I think will. Yeah, there'll be a couple who they'll get caught up in the moment and the excitement, which is fine because, you want that because that means you care. That means you're excited. Yeah. You've got a heartbeat. It's Indiana high school basketball.
And the postseason Indiana, you feel the pressure with every shot. Mm-hmm. I mean, you feel it with every single shot. So, man, seriously, wish you guys all the best, and let's do this next week.
We'll be here for it, we hope. Thanks, guys.
This has been an Overtime Media original production, presented by Bronze Gutzwiller and FCN Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender. We are profoundly grateful for the support of all of our sponsors, including Daisy's Doggy Daycare and H&R Block. Your continued support is key to our success. So until next time, be sure to like, rate, and subscribe. And as always, be a friend and tell a friend about Overtime